Welcome back to Major League Sorare, the Sorare TV show that focuses on the America division, mostly on MLS, but we talk a little America here. But it's Major League Sorare for a reason. It's the wacky, crazy league we love. I'm here with your guy DraftKicks. I'm your guy TrippinB. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for everyone who jumped into the comments of the videos last segment. We got a giveaway to do a little bit later today. We're really excited about that. We're here to talk Game Week 363, and we're here to talk about DraftKicks keeps winning. I keep losing. DraftKicks keeps winning. He got to spend the weekend at a Major League Soccer stadium. He went to Geodis this weekend for a thrilling 0-0 draw, was it? I think Joey Willis making some saves. But DraftKicks, how you doing? Tell us about your best lineups this week. I got nothing to say, and tell us about going to the game.
Yeah, doing well. Had a great time at the game, man. Despite the 0-0 result, the atmosphere was incredible. The boys had a good time. The game itself. The game itself left a lot to be desired. It was just real cagey. Actually, I felt like there was going to be some goals in the game. Nashville going to Orlando,
right,
scoring 2 goals there. I felt like Hani was starting to get into a rhythm. And and then Toronto hanging a few goals on Charlotte a couple weeks ago. Like, it just felt like there were going to be some goals there, and so it was a little let down. But no, where we were sitting was kind of behind one of the goals that was relatively close with the player tunnel. And so after the game, we shuffle over to the player tunnel. I've had a little ball there with a Sharpie. Boys are getting some autographs. I think we got a Bernadeschi autograph. That was the big one.
Berna.
We got a Shaq Moore one, which is pretty cool. Got a Fafa Picot. Okay, had to get a Fafa auto. But the funny story of the autographs was Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy's walking by, and nobody really knows who he is. Of course, everybody's going for the Nashville players, and I see Marshall-Ruddy walk by. I say, Jaquil, and
really
had been a little bit wet out there and on the field. And so, you can imagine, like, once he hit it and like turned back, like skirt, he immediately like slipped and like had to catch himself. I was like, my bad, Jaquil, like, I'm not trying to wreck your ankle. So if he pops up on the injury report this week with a questionable tag because of his ankle, then sorry, guys. But all in all, good times. Good times. My lineups, though, I had a lot of Nashville and Toronto exposure. Had a couple of lineups that actually like made a run at the top. If Michael Bradley would have given me a little bit more than a 33, you're looking at it right there. We could have made some noise, especially in that super rare Cat 240. So he's been coming through with some consistent 50s. So this was definitely a letdown spot.
Yeah.
I think.
Hey, you made threshold, though. That's huge,
Yeah, we got that sweet ETH, but
the sweet ETH, the dose, the microdose, and the megadose. That's what it's all about.
Hey, we actually missed the ETH and limited, but I'm not too mad about that. If I can hit ETH and rare and super rare, then I'm okay with
thanks Pablo Ruiz. Your signature Stuver did not come through with the rough outing in LA. That was a hard time. You also pulled the prize, right, in Champion America. Not bad here with Zelarayan and the signed Gressel. Just absolutely just roasting fools out there.
Yeah, as you say, wrong cap.
Always
feeling it with Benteke.
Benteke is a wild cap in a lineup with Gressel and Zelarayan and Gall. That's an absolutely insane move by you. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a flex. I feel like Benteke.
Huge flex.
I feel like he's been. He's obviously DC's go-to guy, and just felt like if there were going to be goals in that game, that
I don't know about that, man.
Coming through him. So
I don't know.
Didn't work out, but we scored up.
I think people, as much as I call myself out for my dumb moves, I think you need to be called out for this one personally. I had a lineup with Zelarayan and Mukhtar, and I capped Mukhtar instead of Lucas. And as you saw, to bring it full circle, Hanny did a lot of activity and not a lot of accomplishment in the game that you got to witness in person. So what can you do?
Yeah, no, it was, in general, though, decent game week. Scored a Paul Areola rare from that Champion America.
Let's go. So, yeah.
Initially, when it popped up, I was kind of bummed, like, Paul Areola, whatever. I felt like it was like a from what I knew, it was going to be like a 0.05, 0.06 card.
Uh-huh.
But that was his midfielder card. So the new 2023 Areolas are forwards, which obviously a little more value because forwards in MLS are hard to come by. And so I checked the last auction. I think it went for like 0.12, 125 or something like that. And so, yeah, I'm happy with it, man. I mean, I may roll it out this weekend. They've got a decent matchup at home against RSL. So if I don't sell it, then Areola could come.
Definite decisive. Could you make your newest reward a definite decisive? Stay tuned, folks.
Considered it.
Sure.
Considered it.
Yeah,
for sure.
considered it. Good. Well, funny that you mentioned Areola's new forward eligibility because we are going to talk forwards in a little bit. We're going to the theme of today's episode, the main thrust will be forward fixations, but that's a little bit of a tease because we do want to focus on a little bit of preview talk just in general about the game week first. So we will go game week 363 preview, and it's a weird slate. That the odd men out this week are Miami. My Rodolfo Pizarro is of no use to me, and all your Miami cards as they are sort of reshuffling their deck after a really, really rough run to start their season. They went 2-0 and now they're 2-5, right? If I'm not mistaken. So not right. Not a good situation at all for them. They got a week off to think about it. Other than that, there's some pretty even matchups. Would you say it's kind of like a grinder week on paper as we look about it? Although it does feature El Tráfico at the cherry on top at the end of the week.
Yeah, real weird, tricky game week to navigate. A lot of road favorites, I would say, and just not a lot of home teams to attack, or the home teams that you do want to attack. It's kind of like, where are you attacking? Like upstart,
right? Do you want to play Montreal? I mean, yes, it's home against DC United, but it's Montreal. You know, they're favored, but similar with I have to call out my own team, Charlotte FC. Yes, they're playing home against Colorado, but it's Charlotte FC. You know, they haven't proven they can beat anybody. To be honest, they got one win against Orlando.
Colorado coming off a big road win at Kansas City might
exactly
reinvigorate them a little bit.
Yeah, Colorado's actually, since I wrote Colorado off mentally a couple weeks ago, they've actually kind of shown a little bit of a backbone and spine. I wish Charlotte would do the same. Columbus Crew, they're even odds at home against a kind of a resurgent New England. New England's actually, I don't think they look as good as they did when they had Buchanan 2 years ago, and then Boo was a little healthier and a little younger when and Buxa, and they were really running at top form. I don't think they've really reached that level yet, but they do look a lot better than I thought they would this year. So good on Bruce Arena for bringing everything back there in New England. The Red Bulls are favorites, despite losing a big piece of their attack this week due to circumstances that he brought upon himself by being an idiot. So what can we say about that? Houston has no Ache, so that's probably a part of the reason New York's such a big favorite right there. Red card for Herrera. What do you think about stoppage time red cards and things like that with what happened to Herrera, by the way? Just a side note.
Yeah, it's brutal, especially for any card holders. I know our buddy Gator guy, he had some lineups that were killed by that. He could have won some huge prizes. I think he was flirting with some big some big ones there. And so when you see that happen, it just you're shaking your head. I mean, there's several instances from this past weekend. You alluded to it, the Van Zier thing for one. Like, I had a Van Zier rare in hand, and so that goes to dust all of a sudden just from player not thinking, saying something just off the top that's just way out of line. Obviously, like, these guys are
rightly punished for it, and now we don't know when he'll be back. He might be he's taking some time away from the team, and it's indefinite at this point. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if MLS lays the hammer down and just, I don't know, pretty much just says, like, you're gone. Like, he could be suspended the rest of the season.
Right. Sort of the apology statements did seem a little inadequate when those came out, I gotta say. We do have a Sunday game. El Tráfico is on Sunday. It's nice. The one complaint that I think is valid, I've really enjoyed the coverage of Apple as Apple season pass as they've taken over the MLS contract this year. But oh man, I switched to cameras right after you took a big chug of your beer. Damn it!
That was Gatorade, man.
Yeah, sure it was. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I've enjoyed Apple's coverage when I've been able to see it. You know, I go to every Charlotte home game, so I don't like get to sit and like surf MLS 360 and stuff like that very often at home. So that's my own personal thing. But I do miss a little bit. The one complaint that I think is valid is like you don't get to see as much because it's nice to have all the games kick off at the same time, sort of NFL style, or in certain like time windows anyway, NFL style. But it was almost, as much as I complained about it at the time and other people did, it did give you a chance to see a lot of MLS the way like the starts were always so staggered across the night, and there was always like a random 2 p.m. game and then a 7 p.m. and then 2 8:30s and a 3 10 o'clocks and a 6 thrown in there. Like, so I do kind of see less MLS soccer than I had been seeing in previous years because it's all happening at the same time. It's good and bad, I guess. I don't know, but it's nice to have a Sunday game for the LA Galaxy LAFC match at the very least.
Yeah, that's a valid complaint, and I've been the same. I've been feeling the same way. My son and I had that conversation on the way home. Like, we like I get why MLS is doing it, but at the same time, like there's not as much exposure throughout the day to the league, where you could be. Hey, for me, I'm on the road during the weekends. Like, yeah, there might be one game that I can catch. It could have been at like 2 o'clock in between youth soccer games or something. And like now it's, I'd have to go home and like rewatch the games or like watch a bunch of highlights. And yeah, I mean, I definitely miss the Sunday games, and I hope that starts to become a real thing, like to where at least like next season, sprinkle in a few more Sunday games. And yeah, maybe stagger the times a little bit more than they're doing
the
now.
first couple weeks, there was the 4:30 Eastern kickoff. There was like the one like sort of early game before the main slate that I was really enjoying. Like that, I liked that a lot, and I wish they could bring that back and have that being every Saturday. One game at 4:30 before all the main slates kick off at 7:30 Eastern times would be great for me. But what do I know? I'm just one man. I'm just one fan. I always say I'm just a man. That's what I always say when there's like it's nothing I can do about it. In this case, I'm just saying I'm just a fan. You know, what can we do?
We just want to consume all the Major League Soccer, right?
Yeah. We want to watch this crazy league, as I always call it. Any other things stand out from the odds check that just are worth mentioning before we move on to talking some forwards here?
Yeah, not really. Like I said, there's a lot of kind of wonky games that you're just going to
Seattle road favorites. I think Seattle's probably going to smash. Usually Seattle's kind of sits back on the road, but I actually like them to kind of push forward and smash just because it's a Cascadia rivalry thing, and Timbers are vulnerable. It's like they can sense blood in the water, and I think they're going to like pounce on them and try to get all over the Timbers early, I think, in this one. So
I do not disagree. Like I feel like Seattle's heads above Portland at this point. Portland just lost Eric Williamson to injury. Man. He's out for the season, and so
it's the other knee, right? He tore up one knee last year, and he tore up the opposite knee this year. So just brutal.
Yeah, super unfortunate. But yeah, just Portland's in shambles. I mean, Evander is coming back around. Like I think he's back in action, so that will help. My brother's actually been in attendance for that one, so he's pumped up. It'll be his first time taking in that rivalry match. Cascadia rivalry, but yeah, just a lot of road favorites. Like you see there that FC Cincinnati St. Louis one jumps out at me. Cincinnati, I feel like they're much better squad than St. Louis, so would not be surprised to see that game go either way. But like on paper, then yeah, I'm saying like FC Cincinnati should go in and take care of business.
Wow, you really think so? So even as slight favorites being back at home.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit more.
FC Ravioli is not going to be up to the task here.
Dog food FC Ravioli.
Yeah.
Which one is it? But it feels like maybe those odds weigh a little bit too heavy on the early season kind of just magical run that they came like out of the gates with 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah.
FC Cincinnati is still are they still one of the only undefeated teams in the league? Them and LAFC.
Yes. So. Yep. It's a wild table. Let me call that up. Sorry, I did not have that one ready, but I will get there. I think the same could be said almost about Minnesota. The odds for them being at home against Orlando. I kind of like Orlando as they sort of get their feet back under them after the Champions League run ended for them. Like, I don't hate Orlando's chances to go in there and get a road win either, but who knows? I could be being dramatic here. Since he's still top of the league with Seattle, New England, all up there at 17, 16 points. St. Louis starting to fall down a little bit. What is the table telling you right now?
Yeah, like you said, New England's rounding into form. Seattle's got all the pieces. Like right now, I think they're even struggling to find a way to get Bear, Rudy Diaz, and Morris all in the field at the same time. We got a glimpse of it last game, and yeah, it's potent, man. I mean, they've got a potent attack. Cincinnati, I feel like they have done all of this without even being in their top form. So like that says a lot that they're at the top of the table.
Right.
I don't even feel like they've shown us what they've got kind of in their back pocket. So
right, they are going to be without Acosta. They are going to be without Lucho probably for at least a couple of weeks, right? Like he's not hurt too bad, but he did take a kind of a big knock last game and have to come out.
Yeah, let me see what the status on him is.
Cool. As you look that up, I want to share one thing, a little teaser of what's to come here on the show shortly. We are going to talk forwards next, actually, but this is a live look at the wheel of Ramirez here that is spinning. We got 37 names here. Thanks to everyone that commented on our last video to count as an entry there. And as you can see, there's a lot of pretty colors here on this wheel of names. Shout out to Jimmer, friend of the show, friend of the chat, friend of the Discord that directed me to this site. And so that is coming up. We'll be spinning that to give away a limited Christian Ramirez a little bit later. Did you find what you were looking for in the meantime?
Yeah, I did. I didn't see it since I was at the Nashville game, but yeah, it does look like Acosta maybe dislocated his shoulder. Did something right before he slotted home the game-winning PK. So
yeah.
What a guy! Exactly. What a guy is go down, dislocate your shoulder.
You don't need a shoulder to make a PK. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it does. It sounds like he'll definitely be out this week, maybe another week after that, and so might open up. I mean, Barrial's been amazing as it is, but without Acosta,
that's a great point. That's probably why they're doing so well. Is like Barrial's jumped up to that next level for sure. I'm sure his card owners are loving that big time.
Yeah, and now without Acosta, like it's going to be a monopoly of set pieces for him. So, still feel like Cincinnati's the better side even without Acosta there, but it's MLS. We'll see.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm just hoping Charlotte can beat Colorado. That's all I can say because it's Karol Swiderski finally. One thing I'm heavily invested in Karol Swiderski cards. I have his unique, super rare, limited. I have the whole rainbow. So I'm always having him in main lineups, and he scores. Sometimes he gets decisives, and then still it doesn't help me. Like he had an assist earlier this year in the second game against St. Louis, right? And then he had a penalty conceded, so he lost. He basically had a net zero of decisives, and then he had the goal this past weekend against Real Salt Lake, and it was like, okay, he's going to get going, and instead he turns up. He doesn't do much else. He gets an early sub. He ends up with like 64 points, and at least he got the goal, but more on that later. That might actually be foreshadowing of what's to come here later in the show. We do want to talk forwards, and it's our forward fixations. And the reason I want to talk about this today is because last week we talked about goalkeepers, which one quick injury note, by the way, slight before we get to forward fixations. Quentin Westberg is the new goalkeeper in Atlanta, right? Most likely. Schuyler, I know a lot of people have questions about that as Brad Guzan went down with announced as a 10-week injury this past week. He got hurt. He got crashed into in the 18th minute of their last game, and then ended up playing the whole game, and now has a busted up knee and is out for 3 months.
Yeah, I think it should be Westberg there. Atlanta did also pick up Clement Diop in the offseason, and so I know a lot of people. He had some Sorare energy there for a while. Like he was. I remember he was selling for pretty high at one point.
Oh yeah, when he was in Miami, yeah.
In Montreal, right? And then
Montreal, excuse me.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Long M.
He could be an option, but I think it's been Westberg on the bench behind Guzan. Yeah. And so Look, Westberg, I mean, yeah, he might have had a little rough go of it in Toronto, but he's been a starting MLS keeper before. Like he's had a run where he's been the starter. And so I
He's
feel like
always
he's
was. I mean, Toronto gave up a lot of goals last year, and is still giving up a decent amount of goals. So I mean, excuse me, they're not giving up goals this year actually, but last year they gave up a ton of goals, and so that wasn't all on the goalkeepers. That was backline issues as well. So, but we do want to get to forward fixation. Sorry, I just as I started to make that first transition, I was like, oh wait a minute, there's one other bit of news we forgot to bring up. So
no, it's I mean, it's something that needs to be discussed because like the Diop factor is a real thing. Like he's also had a run as a starting keeper, and so I hope it's Westberg. I've got two super rares like just chilling in my deck, and then like all of a sudden they become relevant again. So I hope it's him, but I'm
planning on it being Westberg. Westberg is my cap 240 goalie this week, 100%, not even close. Yeah, it's going to happen. So let's talk some forward rankings just to sort of give some people some ideas here, because I'm always running out of forwards. I feel like I'm always forward is the position where I'm usually short or goalkeeper, as I kind of alluded to. But let's talk about the list sort of and the tiers of this list of like best forwards in MLS. As you see, we got Sorare data up. I've got it sorted by just MLS forwards who've played at least 7 games over the last 15, so that's pretty generous. You need to go that low to get Klaus in because his games don't count. And I figured he was worth talking about because he actually, as much trash as I've talked on Klaus's ability to keep his DA streak up, his AA actually is starting to climb in recent games. So maybe he's doing more A than I thought. And then you'll notice Sebastian Driussi doesn't show up on this list anymore. And I'm guessing that's because his main cards got changed to midfielder. So that's why you probably don't see him on this list. But what do we want to talk about at the top of this list, Schuyler, as far as guys you can recommend to viewers, listeners, who they may be interested in investing in? If you want to go for blue chips up here at the top, who's the one to sort of make your bed with? And then we'll go a little further down the list for some more budget options after that.
Yeah, so I'm staying away from Klaus. I really feel like kind of in the same line of St. Louis. Like he came out of the gate really strong. I still think he's going to score goals, but just felt like he overperformed early in the season. And so it feels like him being the top forward is a little bit of a stretch. And then, yeah, you've got the two like dynamic duo LAFC attackers, Vela and Bouanga, which it's kind of like pick your poison with the two, but I would prefer Bouanga over Vela, obviously, because
me too.
Vela's contract is up at the end of the season. Who knows what's going to happen after that if he's going to hang around. Obviously, if you've got him like in your deck, then yeah, you throw him out there, you use him. LAFC's probably going to be a team that you can just bank on game in, game out throughout the rest of the season to score goals. And so
the one thing I'll say is Bouanga, among the guys on this list, Bouanga actually does have some of the lowest AA here in the top 5, 7, 8 range as opposed to the 12 plus and 15 plus that we're seeing from Velasco, Savarino, and even Klaus and Vela over the last 15.
Yeah, no, you're right. But look at that decisives. Compare that to the rest of the guys on that list. Like he's just like banging in goals now.
He definitely, he's the highest total scorer, L5 of the whole list. So yeah, that is it's all about
kind of offsets. Yeah, kind of offsets. Like if you're going for goals, going for trying to build a lineup where you're like, I'm gonna.
And LAFC is just clicking on all cylinders right now. Obviously, they made Vancouver just embarrassed over the 2 legs worth of CCL games the last couple of weeks, and last night they put on a show for sure.
Yep. But no, going down the list, Jefferson Savarino.
Savarino's a guy that I've got. People have been hitting me up. I've been getting Discord messages again. The market must be picking up of people being like, "Hey, mate, would you sell your Savarino? Would you sell your Savarino?" No, I'm not selling my Sav. I bought him for I think 1.3 ETH last year, a super rare, and I got him real cheap for a rare back in the day for like 0.1, and before he officially came to Salt Lake. Paid to follow news on that one, but yeah, my super rare came from the legend Zurov, who now a former Sorare player at the top levels of the unique game, who then sold his gallery and went to go work for Sorare. So
yeah,
touched by an angel, that card for sure. Yeah, exactly. I love putting it in lineups and saying that thanks to Zurov for the negotiation on that purchase. As we get out of the top 10, though, here, who starts to stand out? It's funny, Chicharito still shows up because I think he's 11th if this default list is sorted by like L15 total score, so he still shows up here in the top 11. But his his L5 numbers are absolutely disgusting. So is it time to? But he's coming back, right? Is it time to buy low on Cheech?
Yeah, he just made his season debut. I think 30, 35 minutes off the bench this past game week. And so, yeah, once he's starting, then yes, I think he's definitely, is he selling for under 0.1 right now? Or is that just the
There's the 2 week
average?
average. Let me bring up, I forgot to click show floor price here. So
If that's the
floor
case,
price is
then
0.09. Yeah, 0.09 floor. Yeah.
yeah, it feels like he's way too cheap right now. LA, like you said, are struggling. They need goals. They need Chicharito. And so they want to get him back into the mix and scoring goals as soon as possible. And so yeah, I feel like
Right.
that's
When
what he does.
When it comes to old guy forwards, would you take Chicharito's goal upside at 0.09 or Johnny Russell's high floor at 0.14, 0.13?
Yeah, I'd probably go for Johnny Russell.
I know you're a Russell guy. I'm a Russell hater. I've been saying Johnny Russell is dust for at least 2 years, if not 3. So
Yeah,
Luis Araujo was a guy who was probably in the top 5 of this list a few months, like when the season started. He's been pretty disappointing. He keeps slipping further down the list. He can't find the decisives, really.
Yeah. Now with Giacomakis in the mix, then he's starting to fade a little bit more too, as far as they've got somebody else that can shoulder that attacking load, and I think that's affecting him some.
For sure. He might. People are saying he's being exposed, etc. This, that. I mean, he's only still 26 years old, so I do think that it's not out of the question for him to have a resurgence and really find his form. What he needs to be spend the next little bit of time doing, I think, is like learning to take over the reins of this team when Almada like inevitably leaves, as people keep projecting, right?
Yeah, I mean he's got the skill set to do it. So I don't know. I mean he's not going to be like a like for like replacement for Almada, but
right.
He's kind of underperformed from.
You can
what?
see the rare price is pretty low at 0.236 3-day average, and then a 0.182 floor price is pretty wild. So
yeah, for somebody that does as much as he does across the board, then yeah, I like Araujo, and I just I feel like he's one of the guys that was going for almost half an ETH preseason.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just because he's one of those forwards that does bring in some of the AAs and
right. He just needs to find the decisives to match.
If you can get a good value on Araujo, I like that.
Enzo Capetti is a big price drop as well. He has struggled to fit in a new role in Charlotte. I know all too well about it. Just getting absolutely zero AA, negative AA in the last 5. And he is a goal scorer. And he is actually he is a playmaker. If you look at his last 40 going back to his Rossing days, he can get, a little bit of AA, at least 3.5 as opposed to what's getting. He's never going to be a huge AA guy, but I'm pegging him for an uptick in the decisives. I have to believe that Charlotte's going to figure it out. Might be blind optimism, but if you look a little further down, Karol Swiderski, the other Charlotte guy, he's bringing 8 to 10 AA over the last 40 and consistently, but he's also getting involved in the goals. I still think if he can be put in the right role as well, I think if Charlotte could get a coaching change, or if this coach can just kind of wake up and pull his tactics, simplify his tactics a little bit. Charlotte's biggest problem is they're trying to play like Man City when they have an AFC Richmond style kind of roster. So we've been saying on the Charlotte Soccer Show, like it's the 4-4-2. Can we just dumb this thing down and go to a 4-4-2 and Charlotte would have a chance to thrive a little more. But those are my Charlotte rants. With Swiderski down under 0.1, I would buy Swiderski. So we got the same price on Chicharito and Swiderski. I would much rather buy Swiderski than Chicharito personally if it was me. But the name that really is popping on this list is the man himself, Bobby Wood. Like, how about this blast from the past? Bobby Wood is back. He's racking in decisives, goals and assists. We love to see it, right? Former U.S. men's national striker.
Yeah, he's getting starts. He's getting minutes at the expense of Giacomo Veroni, who's been a complete bust. And so, yeah, like Bobby Wood, 5 shots last game. Granted, it was against Montreal. But, yeah, a goal and assist last 2 games. What's his price right now on a rare?
For Bobby, there's no sale. So let me bring up his actual page here. That he has no rare cards is the problem.
Yeah, he doesn't have a card, yeah. Just limiteds.
Yeah, he's limited only. Look at how hard he looks on that card too. Amazing.
Yeah, so
$15 to get yourself a piece of Bobby Wood. Problem is his L15 is not really conducive to cap mode, unfortunately. So that makes it a little harder to play. But he's probably a good card to have for the MLS amateur MLS semi-pro division for sure.
Yeah, might be fun to mix in with Heel or Gustavo Bo. Just yeah,
Mint
kind of
rare.
surprising.
Mint the rare. Win 1 of 100. Win 1 of 100 Bobby Wood for sure. You know, they'll probably give a few away. Let's go a little bit deeper down the list, and then we'll wrap things up and move along. But Brian White, shout out to Brian White, who's been playing a lot, and I think this is a guy who can help you a little bit in the cap divisions with the low L15, a low price, but playing a lot because Cordova's been hurt. If you see Cordova come back for Vancouver, then you want to get away from Brian Wright. But as of now, he's not bad. Kwadwo Opoku, another guy that I would presume would be moving higher up the list. Your boy Agata. We're down here in the 30s of this list. Are there anybody jumping out at you? Rui Diaz probably is due for. Is Rui Diaz going to continue to be a substitute, or when he's in full health, is he like the obvious starter ahead of like Chu or something like that?
Yeah, Rui Diaz is the obvious starter, but I have seen reports that Schmetzer is trying to kind of monitor him and maybe not, maybe manage his minutes a little bit. He is working his way back from an injury, but yeah, he's the guy. If he's healthy, then like I said, they're trying to find a way to get all three of like him, Hebert, and Jordan
Is Hebert
Morris.
still hurt?
Hebert just came back too, so he's. Okay. He's back, came off the bench as a sub. But, yeah, Schmetzer's been pretty vocal saying, like, when I see all three of those guys on the field, I want to find a way to, like, keep that going. So
cool. Well, I've scrolled down to the mid-40s here if you look on your screen. And what do I see here on this entire chart? All I see is a bunch of yellow, orange numbers, maybe a couple light greens, but then one big, bright green number jumps out at you on this list. It's Christian Ramirez, who's averaging 60-plus points on his L5 with 55 decisive and 6.6 AA average over his L5. Very impressive, Mr. Ramirez. And with that, I think it's time to get to our giveaway. Don't you believe that is the case?
Yeah, let's do it. It's really cool to see everybody jump in the new Discord. If you haven't already, then yeah, we've got that opened up. Major League Sorare Discord. This last week's been a lot of fun, just jumping in and bouncing some ideas off each other. I mean, I've learned some things myself. Hopefully, some people have got some good advice in there. And then too, just like people jumping on the YouTube, throwing in some comments our way, telling me how to work the mic and that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got 60-ish people in the Discord, so that can be a document someday. A year from now, when we have 70, we'll be able to look back at all that growth and thank those 10 other folks who joined as a result of this message for sure. But we want to get to the giveaway, which is Christian Ramirez. Let me bring up the card. I forgot just more ill preparation from your humble producer here, but I want to bring up your CRAM.
Yeah, he scored a goal over the weekend. Just kind of like the build-up was a real thing. He scored a goal over the weekend.
We should have given him away last weekend, obviously, right? So we're giving away the Columbus Crew one, right? You actually have two.
Yeah.
Not to give it away. You have two CRAMs. One is his Aberdeen card, and one is his Columbus Crew card. You're giving away the Crew one, correct?
Yeah, we got to keep it MLS. Got to give away the new 2023 card. So yeah, 3 goals in his last 3 games, and still feel like he's
in all his glory.
He's going to keep getting some run out because Cucho's on the mend. He should be back soon, but I think I mentioned like they're going to ease him back into the mix. Cucho will not be thrown right into the starting lineup. Ramirez could get some more like 60-minute runouts with Cucho coming off the bench. So
all right, so we will do it live here. We will do it live. Drum roll. I put all 37 names that I saw commented, the individuals on this list here, and I have not clicked it yet, so I'm going to click it, and it's going to be one time only. The rules of this are whatever the wheel decides, the wheel decides. We'll if we know who you are on this, we'll reach out to you on the Discord. If you're in the Discord already, maybe If not, we will just reply to your comment on the YouTube, and then you can get in touch with us to claim your prize. So give me a drum roll, please.
Let's see it. Come on.
Here we go. Spin and win. Spin it, spin it, spin it, spin it. Oh, wow. TN20? Oh, wow. Mick Corte. Wow, right at the last millisecond. Mick Corte, we have a winner. Congratulations. You win the C-Ram. Yeah, we need to get in touch with Mick to find out his Sorare name and whatnot, so we can give him this beautiful Christian Ramirez. Congratulations, Mick. Thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting. Thanks for everything. We're running short on time here, so let's get to the definite decisives. What do you say?
Let's do it. What a bad beat there for AR20 or whoever you were. Yeah. Oh, it's AR20. Oh, Mick Corte gets it. So he was close.
Oh, wow. Sorry, we just lost ourselves there for a second. Thank God we came back. Yeah, tough beat for TN20.
TN20.
I don't know what to say other than because of the stars and the spin to win was with Mick this time. So what can we say? Again, thank you, Mick, for listening. Here is our definite decisive tracker here. How big do I want to make this? Boom. If you look at that green on TrippinB's side. You got to love that.
Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah, I've been here for years. You struck out. Melia conceded late. That killed one. I actually did. By the way, slight update that if you don't follow, if you're not in the Discord, you don't already know this. I did listen to you last week, and I bought Tim Melia on you. Your hard sell finally worked, and all the trash I've talked, and I've advised people, buy Pulse Camp. Melia's way too old. Finally, it just got to the point where you made too good of a case. I had to agree with you and buy Melia. So. But he could not keep the clean sheet, unfortunately. Willie Agata didn't even play. I think that's worth a strike through, right?
Came off the bench, I think.
He did come in. Okay, he did come in. Yeah, I had to strike through Jonathan Bond when he got injured during my definite decisive.
That was rough.
Yeah, Mukhtar again. At least you got to witness how boring that was. Didn't you almost go Willis? You almost went Willis, and you were like, "Oh no, give me Melia instead." I can't remember if that's true or not.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I was feeling Timmy Melia last show, and he almost came through, but almost doesn't count. So
yeah, I nailed Ache. I don't know if I should give myself a yellow since he also got a red card here, so he got the goal and the red. Ended up with. He did get a decisive though, like I said. So, but I said automatic assist, right? And he got a goal. So I actually need to change my green to a yellow for sure. Sorry. That's the proper scoring. Stefan Fry, easy clean sheet. We had no worries about that. And Kerwin Vargas, I should have picked Swiderski because he did score, and I picked Kerwin Vargas instead, like a moron. And Charlotte only got one goal when I expected them to get 3 or 4. And that's how it went. But let's get to this week's, right? Let's tell the people who they want to play. Can we start with your guaranteed goal? What do you say?
Yeah, pull it up there. Danny Buwanga.
Layup. Yeah, exactly. You need to get back in the green, so I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a definite decisive, like a guaranteed goal, right? This guy's been guaranteeing goals every time he steps on the field. And so I haven't used him yet. Like, we're trying to make sure we're not just like every single game week, Vela, Driussi, we're trying to switch it up a little bit. And so I'm pulling out my Buwanga card. Man is on fire right now, so I'm feeling good about it.
He's doing it with such style too. The way he headed it to himself to set up a chance last night that went just wide was absolutely incredible.
El Clasico too, some added incentive,
right? And they're supposed to be blacking out the stadium out in Carson. LA Galaxy fans, if you're not aware, the hardcore LA Galaxy supporters are at war with their front office. They're talking about boycotting El Trafico, and there's LAFC fans have some coordinated efforts to go black out the stadium on the road, on the road out in Carson or whatever. So it could be like a black and gold atmosphere inside the arena there in a nominal LA Galaxy home match. So that could be interesting subplot on Sunday for sure. I don't know. Hopefully it never gets to Charlotte's point where we have to boycott the front office as supporters, but you never know. Things have been kind of rough to start things off, but we can now look to Cincinnati as an example of where we can grow towards. Anyway, speaking of Charlotte, speaking of should have picked Karol Swiderski, I'm going back to the crown well, baby. Karol Swiderski is my guaranteed goal. I'm doing it. I think home against Colorado is a perfect place to make it happen. He's found his shooting boots. He scored for Poland in the international break. He scored for Charlotte with just a real banger against Real Salt Lake. I think he's got another goal in him against old Billy Yarbs, as we call him for Colorado. So Carroll's my guaranteed goal. We'll see if my Crown loyalty comes back to bite. And then I'm going with a little bit of a layup as well here for my assist. Christian Espinoza, the man's on fire. He's making things happen. He got the goal against Red Bulls. He finds ways to score, and that's my I would pick him to score, except I picked Carroll to score, so I'll put Espinoza in my assist and end up either green or yellow there, one way or the other.
Hey, Espinoza is another one that's been maybe he's been outperforming, overperforming early on, but he's kind of the guy that like you knew he had it in his toolbox, but he's finally just like throwing everything out there. He's carrying San Jose pretty much, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Your assist, you're going. It's not Easter weekend was last weekend, but you're going with Jesus here on April 15th for tax season, I guess, for the automatic assist. What do you say?
Yeah, going with Jesus. He's another guy like kind of in that same mold as not quite like Jefferson Savarino, but a forward, set piece taking forward. And so if he's not scoring a goal, then he could be over a set piece that ends up on the head of somebody, and there you go. He's got an assist, and so he's creating chances. He's getting shots off. I just like him to be involved at home against the Salt Lake team that's not been very good defensively. Sure. I feel like Dallas have some goals in them, and yeah, I think Ferrer is going to be involved here.
Yeah, I'm going to follow that up with my could-be clean sheet, who is Marty Pice. I think I spelled Martin wrong in this case, but as I often do with some of these names. But yeah, Marty Pice playing against Real Salt Lake. I think Salt Lake, unfortunately, took advantage of a really bad game by Charlotte. I don't think Salt Lake is back just because they put up 3 in a 7-minute span against the Crown. So I don't really like Real Salt Lake's chances against a really more disciplined and team that's sort of figured out its identity more than Charlotte has, which is Dallas. And I like your Ferreira assist call, and hopefully it's paired with a clean sheet from Marty P. And don't trust Salt Lake's offensive explosion last week. Total illusion. It's not going to happen again.
Yeah, Salt Lake. Before that game they were outscored 4-0 and like back-to-back games, 4-3-0.
Yeah.
So
and they had only scored 1 in 4 matches, I believe. So before that, game.
Granted, like Savarino and Ruiz are just kind of starting to get that chemistry going again. So.
Sava's goal was nice. I mean, it was a tap in, but it was a nice tap in for sure. But they were just able to do anything they wanted on the wings. Right. Charlotte has a really big issue of playing the inverted fullbacks, committed to playing inverted fullbacks, and just getting exposed on the wings, and the center back's totally stretched, and then guys get tap-ins. So it's not good.
Yeah.
Not good at all. But how's about your clean sheet, my friend? You're going to Mr. Carlos Coronel. The Red Bulls need clean sheets to do well, so that's probably not a bad pick.
Yeah, they've been flirting with a clean sheet. I want to say that Coronel's had one like very early in the season, but ever since then, if you look at his game log, he's only given up 1 goal, like exactly 1 goal in each of the last like 5 or 6 games. And so that's the way that Red Bulls are playing right now. Like they don't have very much going forward. And so they know that if they're going to grind out a result, it's got to be, they can't give up a goal. So Houston coming to town without Hector Herrera, who picked up that red card. And I feel like he's been kind of the linchpin in their attack. He's been making things happen. And without him, interested to see if they can kind of keep up their early season. They've been actually like surprisingly good early in the season, but don't feel like they keep it up without Herrera.
No Ache, no chance, right? Exactly. Yeah. Going on the road to Red Bull, I don't know if they'll be able to handle the pressure with the composure that they've been showing so far. So looks like a points dropped spot for Houston for sure here. And Coronel's a pretty nice pick. So those are the definite decisives. Look for them in the Discord. Look for us on Twitter. Follow us everywhere. We love to get love. Obviously, we're not arrogant bastards, but everybody loves to hear good things about themselves. So thank you so much for those who've taken the time to offer feedback and make comments. We don't have a we'll do another giveaway soon, but congrats. Huge congrats to Mick Corte for getting the Christian Ramirez winner. Just the drama of that wheel spin. I wish we could do an instant replay of it, but unfortunately, we just have to live in that moment that we was. I guess you can scroll back on the video. That's the beauty of YouTube. So, everybody, have a great week. Good luck with your lineups, And tell us what kind of content you want. Sort of the last few weeks, we've just sort of like broken out some position groups to focus on. Anything you want to hear about, or us to talk about, more analysis, more jokes, fewer jokes, better jokes probably is always in play as a feedback response. So, but thank you, Schuyler. Anything else you want to say before we peace out here?
Yeah, no, it's been like I said, it's been really cool seeing everybody jumping in, getting involved, getting into the conversation. If anybody has any questions, like feel free to reach out. There's no stupid question or whatever. I know there's a lot of folks watching like outside of the US, which is really cool. I saw even a group of guys from down under, from Aussie.
Yeah.
From Australia.
Yeah, we've got the Australia contingent watching the show. It's a great thing. So yeah,
really cool to be able to help anybody and everybody that's here. That's why you're here, obviously, watching the show. If you've made it this long, then thank you so much. And good luck this week, guys.
Jump in the Discord.